That way we can upload this after we're done here.
Just real quick, Sergeant McCusker.
Yep.
Sergeant Young, I'm having to restart my computer.
You're good, Sergeant Young. No problem. You're no problem. Do your thing. Y'all had a chance to read 1 alpha last week, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we did.
Perfect. So I'll start off with a question here from there. Airman Mercer, can you tell me, I'll go ahead and ask you, a radio wave is characterized as having amplitude, a blank, and a blank. Now, if you need to use your study guide workbook, you can go ahead and do that to look up the answers. Just remember where you had to look it up, because you don't get your study guide workbook on test day.
Is it frequency and wavelength?
It sure is. I totally had that slide pulled up in the background, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Sure did. Yep. All right. Let's go ahead and select Airman O'Donnell. You can go ahead and get the next one. So, what is amplitude? If you can't talk, you can go ahead and type it in, but y'all should be able to.
Airman O'Donnell can't talk.
He can't, huh? Oh, is he in the room with you?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, so go ahead and you can have him talk through your mic then, that's fine. As long as you're 6 feet away from each other, right? That was a joke.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, amplitude is the magnitude of change in height of the radio wave. This is the amount of power introduced into the signal.
Absolutely, is the amount of power introduced in the signal. Very good. Alright, let's have A1C Prado. Is that how you say it? Prado? You can either type or talk if you have a microphone. You can answer the next question here. So radio propagation occurs in several different forms. Blank, ground waves, and blank waves are just a few. Silence. Does he need me to repeat the question? I assume you're not roommates with this guy as well. Maybe I'll type it in for him. Oh, perfect. There we go. Absolutely, I can repeat the question. Radio propagation occurs in several different forms. Blank, ground waves, and blank waves are just a few of them. So I gave you one of them. There's 2 others. Skywaves and line of sight. Very good. So when we talk about skywaves, are those, and we talk about line of sight, right? So line of sight is obviously something you can see it. You can visually see from one antenna to the other, or your antenna can radiate from one antenna to the other via no obstructions. With beyond line of sight, that's a form of using the skywaves there, and that's what the HF radio, the one y'all were working on today, that's what it uses. So we use beyond line of sight with that radio. Do y'all know what the name of the radio is that you worked on today? Let's go with Airman Schaefer.
Um, I think it was it was a high frequency transceiver. Um, was it the I am looking this up because I didn't
That's
remember the
okay.
name of it, but AN/PRC 150.
That's correct. The AMPRC 150. That's the name of the radio we worked on today. Sweet. Follow-up question, since you just told me that. What mode did you guys have the radio in today when you were programming it? Do you remember?
In PT mode.
And what is PT mode? Correct. Plain text. There, he got you. He got you. Very good, Aaron Priato. Excuse me. She got you. All right, next question. So let's go with Mercer. HF skywave propagation uses which portion of the atmosphere to make the on-line of sight communications possible?
The ionosphere.
Sweet. How many layers of the ionosphere are there?
3.
What are they?
D, E, and then F is split into 2, F1 and F2.
Outstanding. Which one of those layers works best at night?
Is it D?
Incorrect.
Then
See if
F?
somebody else want to help you out. Are you taking guesses? All right, so this is what we're talking about right here. You see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the one we're talking about right here, and you just told me the D layer down here is what works best during the nighttime. So what do you know happens as the day goes on? What happens to this layer down here?
It would dissipate.
It dissipates or thins, correct? Yeah. So now that you know that, which one of these do you think is going to work best at night?
Probably F1.
All right, so let's see if you really got this. If I give you, so the HF frequency range is 3 to 30 megahertz, correct?
Yes, sir.
If I give you a frequency of 20 megahertz, which one of these layers is going to work and at what time of the day? So you have a 20 megahertz frequency.
So it'd be like D or E. It work better during like daylight.
Correct. D or E would be your choices. Yeah. So F2 and F1 wouldn't really be available because you can't really reach those until the nighttime. Very good. And that's what it talks about right here, right? So we go into all the layers changing according to how much the sunlight is going through them. That's the ionization. And then the D layer attenuates lower HF frequencies during the day, which means you can actually use them, more ionization. And then there's higher HF frequencies, which do not function as well at night. So we would not use those at night. All right. Good. Doing good. All right. Leave that one up for y'all for a second. Let's go with O'Donnell. So approximately how many miles can the F layer send an HF signal? This one you might have to dig through your book a little bit. $1,500. Outstanding. That's straight out of y'all's book. Very good. A1C Priato, can you go ahead and answer the next question? So what time of day is best to send an HF frequency of 22 megahertz? Now, this relates back to what we were just talking about. See if you were paying attention. feel like I should have some Jeopardy music or something playing in the background. Noon, absolutely. Outstanding, very good. Yep, so afternoon or midday, like we were saying, remember that the lower HF frequencies work better at night and high-end HF frequencies work better during the day. And this all correlates to that radio y'all were working on today. So we'll talk about amplitude modulation next. Amplitude modulation is accomplished by a process known as what? Let's go with Rich No? A1C Rich No, is that how I say your name?
Yeah, it's Rich now.
Okay.
Heterodyning.
Heterodyning. And what is heterodyning? I totally have the slide pulled up.
Heterodyning is taking two signals, your carrier and some type of intelligence, mixing them together, and you come out with your low band, upper band, and then the carrier and intelligence. So it's creating four different.
Outstanding. Bam. Oh, there we go. Should have taken away the answer before I asked the question. That would have helped. All right. Amber Schaefer, you're next. So the RF carrier has a representation of the blank superimposed in it.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. The RF carrier has a representation of the blank superimposed in it, meaning it's inside of it.
Is that the intelligence?
The intelligence is a possible answer, but the answer I'm looking for is directly out of the book. So what is intelligence? You just said intelligence, correct? What is that? And no, I'm not talking about how smart somebody is.
Well, intelligence is like if you're transmitting audio, it would be the audio. It's whatever you want to
Okay.
transmit.
What else could it be besides audio?
It could be like data.
Data. All right. So good. The answer from the book that they were looking for was the RF carrier has a representation of the audio superimposed in it, but intelligence is not the wrong answer. Very good. All right, next question. Thank you. In amplitude modulation, both sidebands contain the exact same blank. Let's go with Aaron Mercer again. So I'll repeat the question. In amplitude modulation, both sidebands contain the exact same what? Couldn't hear you.
Is it intelligence?
Intelligence. And what's the intelligence again?
The audio or the data being transmitted?
Audio or data being transmitted. Very good. Outstanding. All right, we'll go with A1C O'Donnell. You're next. So the first 300 megahertz, or excuse me, the first 300 hertz of an AM signal is normally filtered out because it is considered what? Outstanding. What is noise? Okay, static. Sure. Yeah, it's our the undesirable signal, what you don't want in there. All right, let's go with Priato. How much power is utilized in the carrier of an AM signal? So I'll repeat the question for everybody. How much power is utilized in the carrier of an AM signal? I'm going to assume you're typing. Or looking it up. And if anybody else in here doesn't know the answer, you all should be looking it up too so you can help her out. I'll give you another minute, Priato, and then I'll have somebody else help you out. Can't find it. All right. Can anybody else help her out?
Is it the question was how much does a carrier in AM?
How much power is utilized in the carrier of an AM signal?
Is it 2/3?
2/3. That's correct. Can you tell her where you found that in your book so she can also have that information?
Bottom of page 6.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, follow-up question for you. How much do the sidebands take up then? So if you said there's 2/3 in the power of the carrier, how much are in the sidebands?
Are you asking me?
Yep. I'm asking you, Amateur.
1/6 in
1/6.
each of the
Very
sidebands.
good. 1/6 in each sideband, so 1/3 total. That's good, Priyata. Yeah, 1/3 total, but not 1/3 per sideband. It's 1/6 per sideband, like he said. Each of the sidebands takes up a sixth. Awesome. All right, let's go with Airman Rich. No. How many sidebands are normally transmitted during one single sideband transmission?
Just one sideband.
Just one sideband. And which sideband do you transmit? You should have learned this in the lab you did.
Usually it's upper sideband.
Usually it's upper sideband. So you're telling me that you're always stuck with doing upper sideband? Is that what you're saying?
No, I believe he also said in class that sometimes they use the lower sideband, but typically it's usually the upper sideband.
Okay. So the correct answer would be either. You can use either of them. Very good. All right. Let's go with Schaefer. You're next. I know you already answered the question, but I'm going to give you another one. Spectrum conservation in a single sideband radio allows for the use of more blank while decreasing the overall bandwidth used. So right now we're talking about the advantages of single sideband. So we moved on a little bit past these things here. This is what we're talking about now.
It decreases the bandwidth and lets you have more channels on the spectrum.
Absolutely. So what do you mean when you say it decreases the bandwidth? What is bandwidth?
Bandwidth is the length of the wave.
The length of the wave? Isn't that wavelength?
Yes, that is.
Yes. So why don't we ask Airman Mercer? Do you know what bandwidth is? I'll give you a shot at explaining it before I explain it.
Does that have to do with how much the signal takes up?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
so instead of with AM, it takes like 6 kilo, but with single sideband it only takes 3 kilo.
Okay. I think you're getting a little into transmissions and power and that sort of thing there. The power efficiency aspect, what you're talking about. The 9.6 dB. So what we're talking about with bandwidth in terms of the HF radio and in radios in general, because it's also a term that applies to computers, which you guys will learn about in Block 7. But with bandwidth for our block, what we're referring to is the total amount of space you're taking up within the spectrum. That's what bandwidth is. So remember, I told you the radio is an HF radio, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the HF spectrum?
3 megahertz to 300.
No, that's way too much. Not 3 to 300, 3 to 30 for just HF. Now, when you guys were going through the radio you were programming today, the AMPRC 150, did you happen to find out how much bandwidth that takes up, or how much space on the spectrum you can transmit on or receive on?
Uh, 1.6 megahertz to 59.9 megahertz.
Outstanding. That's great. Where did you get that answer from?
I believe it's in the diagram in the book.
It's in the diagram in the book. Okay. What else it is that answer in that you're going to have on test day?
Is it in one of the TOs?
It is absolutely in both of your TOs. Yeah. Now with
-1.
table 1-1, Sergeant Gaston, look at that. I see you in here.
I'm creeping.
Yeah, you're creeping. Absolutely. Table 1-1. Very good. It is in your operations manual is what he's referring to, your technical operations manual for the 150. And table 1-1 also has a bunch of other information on it as well. All right, very good, Mercer. Did that kind of clear up bandwidth for you all a little bit?
Yes, it did.
Okay, I hope it did. Because what they're talking about specifically with the advantages right now, a reason it's an advantage over what they were talking about, you notice we started talking about a traditional AM, traditional amplitude modulation, HF carrier, that type of thing. Well, with the single sideband radio, the one y'all were like using today, number one, the advantage was it uses a single sideband. That's why we had that question in there to begin with. And number two, it's more power efficient, which is kind of what you were talking about there, I think, Mercer, with the kilohertz and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Outstanding. All right, let's keep going here. A1C O'Donnell, what are the two aspects of power efficiency? Now remember, we're talking about advantages of single sideband still.
So there's available power is concentrated in the one utilized sideband, and then power.
Didn't hear the second part.
Power output is only developed when carrier is modulated.
Sure. What are we using to modulate the carrier?
Is that peak envelope
Are you going
power?
to say peak envelope power? Negative. It is not peak envelope power. What are we doing right now? We're talking, right? So we're transmitting audio back and forth. Yes?
Yes.
So my voice is being modulated and sent to y'all on a distant end, correct? And if I start typing, for example, that's data, right? Being sent?
Yes.
Yes. So I'll ask again, what do you think you're modulating?
Data or voice?
Data or voice? Yeah, you're going to modulate data or voice. Now, something unique, and the reason they listed it in here, for power output only developed when the carrier is modulated. So if you don't talk, or you don't type, you don't send data back and forth, what do you think happens with a single sideband transmitter?
Nothing will happen, sir.
Nothing will happen. Outstanding. Whereas with the traditional AM back here, we'll go back a couple slides. Oop, wrong way. Yeah, I'll see this. So when we're looking at this with the traditional AM, regardless of what we're sending in our lower sideband or upper sideband here, this is always here, the carrier. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Maybe this will help a little better. So when we go to single sideband, that carrier I just showed you all in that spectrum analyzer, you notice it's suppressed, correct? It's not eliminated. We don't remove it because it's still there, but it's suppressed. So we're not focusing as much power in there. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Cool. That also kind of explains your no signal in, no signal out thing right there. All right, we'll go back here. I don't want y'all cheating. All right. Who do I got next? Priato, correct? All right, Priato. How do we find the total effective gain for a single sideband radio? While we're waiting for her to type, is this helping y'all out with what you went over today?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Good. All right, we'll save some time at the end, too, to go over any questions or anything y'all might have. It is 9 dB total from receive and transmit. That's correct. So how much is in transmit? How much in receive? Awesome. Now I'll go back to the original question. How do you find the total effective gain for a single sideband radio? You basically just gave me the answer. Negative. The answer's not 6. Somebody want to help her out? Okay, so what I'm asking you is, how do you find the total effective gain for a single sideband radio? So what is 6 plus 3? 9. So what did I add just now to get you the total effective gain? See, I'm going to let you figure it out. Nope. It looked like you were typing, and then nothing happened. All right, so Aaron Priato, you add the transmit and receive gain together to get your total effective gain. That's the answer I'm looking for. That's how you get the total effective gain for a single sideband radio. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody in here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, that's fine, Prieta. I just wanted to make sure you were getting it. Okay. Airman Rich, no. How much power is put out when a single sideband radio is keyed and unmodulated? So when the radio is keyed up, but no modulation is applied, how much power are we getting?
So in the 100-watt transmitter, I guess all of the power is available when it's unmodulated.
Okay, so explain to me again what modulation is.
Modulation is combining the two signals together.
Mm-hmm.
To
Which two
create
signals?
The carrier and intelligence.
Okay. So if I just told you it's not modulated and you told me all the power is being applied, does that make sense to you?
So then no power would be being used.
Outstanding. Yep. Virtually no power in a single sideband radio if unmodulated, meaning nothing is being transmitted, therefore no power is being used, and no signal sent, unlike an AM transmitter where the carrier is always present. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Good. Very good. I set you up there. Alright. Amber Shaver. True or false? CCI will obtain whatever classification of key/crypto is loaded into the device.
True.
True question mark?
True. Period.
Okay.
I got it. Yeah, it's true.
Yes, it's true. When we talk about CCI, those radios y'all were working on today, they were CCI radios. What does that mean? Enlighten me.
I'm sorry. What was that?
What does CCI mean? Did they explain that to you in class today? I know they probably told
Oh.
you that it was a CCI radio, correct, Sergeant Gaston? Because I know you're in here now, and you'll call them out if
Yeah.
they say no.
Yes. Yes, they did. That is a. It stands for controlled cryptographic item, and if you were to put in like a key for
A key like I drive my car with? So I can
like
put a car key in my radio? Is that what you're telling me?
a key to encrypt and decrypt radio signals, like radio
Oh, an
signals.
encryption key. I think that's the word you're looking for,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I meant. And if you put one in that is classified as secret, it makes the item itself classified as secret.
Okay. All right, let's turn this over to Aaron Mercer. So based on what he just told me, if I take your same radio, same thing he was just saying, same CCI stats apply, but I put a TS key in there, what do I got?
You get top secret.
I got top secret radio. Very cool. Aaron O'Donnell, what about an unclass key? Such as the training keys you guys use in the schoolhouse, or you
It would
will
be
use.
unclassified, sir.
It's still unclassified, but it is still a key, so you treat it just like it is any other crypto item. It still gets treated the same, even though it's an unclass key. Make sure you all understand that, because when you all do exercises in the future, even if they give you an unclass training key or whatever just for the exercise, treat it just like it's the real thing. That'll get you in a lot of trouble if you don't.
So I got a question on keys, actually.
Ooh, what do you got?
So
Sedan,
I know
coupe, BMW?
sedan.
Okay.
Okay, so we got the sedan key.
Yep.
I
Go ahead.
know computers, like if it's a secret, once you've made a zipper machine, it can
Sure.
never go back down.
It can never go back down. That's
Is that
correct.
the
But
same concept?
can you use a zipper machine to send unclassified information?
You can, yes.
You can. Right. So what I'm referring to, though, you're correct. So do you want to elaborate a little bit more on what you're talking about? Because that's actually a good point to touch on. So these guys understand.
So once a machine has a classification put on it, so if it is a secret or a top secret, you're not going to be able to de-escalate the classification. So if you have a secret machine, it will never be Nipper again.
Sergeant Gaston, what happens if I wipe that key and zeroize it? Can I go back to whatever classification it was?
That is an excellent question. I have never had to deal with crypto, so I apologize. I don't have that answer.
The answer is still no. It's still considered secret or classified or whatever level you were using it at. That device is associated with, because you're still going to reload it with a new key. Now, if you're taking that device and putting it away in like storage for a while, and you're never going to load it again, yeah, then you can check with your local ComSec office and get permissions from them. So that was a good point. So you all need to make sure you pay attention when you get to your bases finally, and ask them what their information is on crypto or ComSec, what their rules are. Generally, though, we're not going to leave crypto unattended. That's a huge thing in the Air Force. Don't leave crypto unattended. I'm sure every single instructor in here will probably say yes to that. If they don't, they might have some paperwork to fill out after this conversation. But good to go. Everybody understands?
Yes, sir.
You guys have any questions on that? Any questions on crypto or anything we've gone over so far? Does anybody have any questions? Priato, it looks like you got a mic now.
Yes.
Outstanding. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Was what you guys worked on today, was that pretty straightforward? Pretty understandable?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So how many different channels can that radio program? Channels.
I believe it was.
Go ahead.
200.
200. 200 channels. Is 000 considered a channel?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes up to 199. That's how you get your 200. How many system presets do I have? Man, if I only had this book.
75.
75?
Yeah. Where in your TO did you find that answer, though?
I think it's in the first table.
Yeah, you think? Or maybe you should look it up. So y'all can go ahead, take a second, look that up in the TO for me. And then I want to know what page you found that answer on. You got the right answer. There's 75 system presets, absolutely. But what do you get on test day again? Crickets. You don't get crickets. Y'all understand you get your TOs on test day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm like, I was waiting for an answer and got nothing. This is a conversation. Y'all can talk back. It's a two-way thing.
Page 1-3.
Page 1-3, okay. Is it also available on table 1-1, or is that where you found it on page 1-3?
Yeah, that's the table 1-1.
That's table 1-1. There's a ton of great information on there. Outstanding. How far in water can I submerge this radio? Or emerge, or immerse?
35.4 inches.
35.4 inches. So if I take this radio and I put it in 3 feet of snow and then leave it there, do y'all think it's going to work?
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, let's not take our radios and leave them in snow. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right, not speaking from experience there, but let's not do that. Okay, very good, very good. So what do we commonly use channel 000 for? Do y'all know?
If you need like a quick preset, then you can just put it on that for like a short amount of time.
Okay. What are some things you might want to do with that? So let's say, for instance, you're troubleshooting. Do you think that's a good channel to leave open 000 and to not fill with any data?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. That's a good answer. Very good. Awesome. What is that little device we have on the back that we insert into the radio called? The one that stores the memory?
The hub?
The hub? Yeah. What does that do for us exactly? Can I power it? Can I talk with my radio with just a hub battery?
No, you can't. It just
Why?
It has just enough power to hold up the presets that you have preset in it and the configs that you have in.
Yeah, your system settings. Very good. It's very similar to a CMOS battery inside of a computer. If y'all know about computer stuff. If not, you will. You're going to learn about it in Block 6. It's going to be great. All right, let's have... I'll just open it up to whoever wants to answer this at this point. We got a couple more questions to get through here, and then I'll open it up to whatever questions y'all have from class. So let's list 3 single sideband scan characteristics. Give me 3. There's a whole bunch of them.
You asked for 3 advantages, or
3 single sideband scan characteristics.
Oh.
Yeah, we went over the advantages already. Sure, you can type it if you want. Bam, look at that. That's 4 of them. Definitely have more than that, but absolutely, I only asked for 3, so fantastic. Thank you. Where'd you find that information at, O'Donnell? He's not going to say his TO. He's going to tell me study guide workbook, right?
Yes, sir. It's on page 10 of the study guide.
Yep. Very good. Okay, let's go with Priato. What is the frequency range for the radio again?
Is 1.6 megahertz to 59.99.
Very good. Which portion of that covers only the HF spectrum?
I believe that's 3 megahertz to 29.999.
Okay. Why would you start with 3, Rich, now? What did she just tell you the frequency range for the radio was?
I don't remember why 1.6 to 3 has something to do with the Air Force being different.
Has something to do with the Air Force being different?
And we like to use lower than what the...
So yeah, it uses lower than what the traditional HF frequency spectrum range is, but it's still considered that, alright? So it would be 1.6 to what?
29.999 megahertz.
Very good. So if I were to ask you, Erman Schaefer, what the frequency range was for HF, what would you tell me? Got him.
Did you just ask? I'm
Nope,
sorry.
I definitely asked a different question.
I thought you just asked. Okay.
He gave me the HF frequency range for the radio. I asked you what the HF frequency range was.
Okay. 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz.
Yeah, I got him. Very good. Outstanding. You see what I did there?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Wait, so for HF, it's
yes, ma'am.
3. Wait, what's the difference again?
So the HF frequency range extends from 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz. However, with the radio y'all are working on today, it goes from 1.6 to 59.999. But the specific HF range in there is the 1.6 to the 29.999. And you can see that in your TO. That's also available in your TO, that information. So the VHF range, because it does a little bit of a portion of the VHF range as well, Priato. So the VHF range is that 30 to 300, and that might have been where y'all got that 300 from earlier that you threw out, Mercer. That could have been where you got that from. That's entirely possible. It is only day 2 of y'all's class. Alright, so I got a couple more questions here for y'all, and then I'm going to open it up to kind of whatever y'all want to go over. So the next question is, what does ALE do? Now, I'm not talking about that thing that you have to be over 21 to drink. So, Gaston, you've been quiet for a while. What's ALE do?
ALE is the automatic link establishment.
Okay. What does it
That's
do?
what it stands for. But it goes to find the best available channel that you have set for you to talk on. So it looks at the time of day, it looks at what the atmosphere would look like, and picks the best frequency for you to use.
Awesome. Hey, Sergeant Young, are you in here?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. How does it do that?
It pings the ionosphere because back in the day, we used to have to ping the ionosphere manually, and it just checks for the saturation
Okay.
throughout the
You're
day.
saying ping the
And then-
ionosphere, right, for ALE? So what are the
Yeah.
two things that we talk about in class that it uses to work?
The link quality analysis,
Bam, there it is. What does that use to work?
exchanges and sounds.
And what are those? What is sounding? Aaron Mercer, what's sounding?
Well, sounding is whenever one radio pings the other, but the other radio does not respond to it.
Okay, so it's just like someone sending you a text message, and you're like, yo, sup? And then nothing. You ghosted. Just sent that message out there and got no response. Just saying, hey, I'm here.
Well, it gives the one radio.
Oh, okay.
LQA.
You're saying it gets LQA off of sounding?
Yes, sir.
Or is that exchange? Because sounding is just the radio saying, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
All right. It doesn't need a response. It doesn't wait for one. It's just telling the other radios in that network that it's here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is exchange then?
Exchange is whenever the radio sends to another radio and the radio responds to that radio.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like what we're doing right now. We're having an exchange. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense to everyone in here? You all get that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that pretty much covers all of 1 alpha for y'all. And that's kind of all I really wanted to go over today. Tomorrow we're going to go over 3 alpha, which is going to be your circuits and diagrams. Did you all have any questions for me? Any questions that pertain to anything you read so far, or maybe anything you went over with Sergeant Gaston in class? Any of the controls and indicators on the radio, that 1 Bravo stuff? Maybe some configurations for the radio. I've got 3 configurations for the radio. How did you all like programming the radios today?
I like doing that.
You enjoyed it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Mercer, what do you think?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty straightforward.
Okay. O'Donnell? That's right, I gotta wait for your response. It was enjoyable. Very good. Alright, cool. Priato, I don't want to leave you out.
I enjoyed it too.
Y'all enjoyed it?
Like
Very
you
good.
said, straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So you guys had no questions on anything you learned today? No one's gonna try and steal a $20,000 radio? The answer's no. I'll answer that one.
Sir, will we ever
Go ahead.
use the newer
The 160?
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the ways you'll use it is if you come back to the schoolhouse later and come through for the 5-level training. They just got a bunch of them in. I believe the intent is in the future here to have those utilized in the course. What base are you going to?
I'm out of the McConnell. I'm at the ASOS though out there.
You're out of McConnell? Yeah, you guys will probably have them there. I've been to McConnell.
Yeah, we have them for the tech piece.
Yep.
But I was just wondering if we'd learn any.
So that's
here
perfect
at
example
Schoolhouse.
right there. Is you might use them to teach those guys how to program them because they don't always know how to do that. They don't always go through our course. So there may be an instance where you have to program the radio for them, or you might even get to teach a class yourself and show them how to use it. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Maybe they'll try to erase the crypto by washing it for you and putting it in a bucket of water.
They zero the radios a lot, sir.
Ah, that's good. That's a good thing. You do want to zeroize it whenever you're bringing it back because that puts it in an unclassed state basically and makes it easy to transport. You don't have to worry about any of that.
They do it like during the middle of their trainings.
Yeah, that's not great. So what kind of effect does that have? Can you explain to maybe some of the other people in here what that does?
It basically they're just stranded without being able to talk to anybody.
Okay. Are there some ways we can fix that?
They can reprogram themselves out in the field.
Sure. So there's also something called over-the-air programming and over-the-air rekeying, which you can do as well if they zeroize it, which is OTAR.
Okay.
And you can transmit the key from one side to the other. Since they have already had that key initially loaded, you can do that. If they do not have the key initially loaded, you cannot do that. So it's a rekey, not a key. So zeroizing it might wipe the key. You might not be able to do it with that instance. But if they mess up the crypto or perhaps they have something wrong with it, they can try and rekey it over the air. Other than that, what do you have to do? You have to go out there, right?
Yeah. They have a sheet with all the different.
I'm sure they do. I bet they call you still though.
Stuff. Yeah, they do for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's good that you've had that experience already. I don't think most of the guys in here have had that experience yet, so that's great. All right, cool. So we got about 8 minutes left here. Do y'all have any questions? Like I said, I'm going to upload this audio into here as well, so y'all can listen to it later if you want to listen to anything we went over, have any more questions, something you think of. With 3 Alpha tomorrow, it's going to be pretty much lecture style. I'm not really going to do this Q&A stuff as much. I will expect you all to have your TOs though open, so we'll go through and I'll let you each kind of like read through a little bit of a section of each and kind of explain some things as we go through the circuits and diagrams. And that's how I'm going to handle that tomorrow. Does that work for y'all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did this help everybody? Was this beneficial?
Yeah, it was for
Yes,
sure.
it was.
Okay, cool. If you guys have any other questions or anything you think of, I'm on here. Anytime you need questions answered, anything like that for block 2. Awesome. Go ahead and message me if you have anything. That being said, thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Y'all
Have
did
a great
great.
day, sir.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Caesar Gaston, that went pretty good.
Yeah, that went pretty well.
Yeah, that was much better than the let me stop recording for a second here.